Nothing worthwhile is achieved without paying the price for it, because there is no shortcut way for genuine knowledge, relationship, skills, and even spirituality. Dear sisters, today a beautiful read in the Gospel passage, a very familiar one. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth, it will not bear fruit. Nothing is given freely. We need to pay the price for it. In order to gain anything, we need to lose something that is revealed by our very existence. Even to breathe, to take the breath in, we have to leave the previous breath out. If I keep my breath into me, I will not give my breath, then I cannot take breath in, I cannot breathe in, then I cannot live. So I have to be ready to lose this moment in order to go to the next moment, and that makes life possible. If I am not ready to give up this moment, no, I don't want to give up, I want to hold it on, life is not possible. So life is a struggle. To gain something, we need to lose something else. And life is a struggle. Even the very birth of a child is a struggle. Even the conception is a struggle. Out of millions and millions of sperms, one sperm gets into the egg and the fertilization takes place. So struggle to get something is the law of nature, maybe the plan of God. In order to gain something worthwhile, we need to be prepared to lose something. Any genuine knowledge, any genuine relationships, skills, even spirituality also, we need to lose something in order to gain something which is worthwhile. And today's theme is, we are a mission on earth. Now, to be a mission, we need to lose something. Not only something, lot of things we need to lose. And I like that theme. It's not saying we are called to do a mission or to execute a mission. We are called to be a mission. And that's what the church also believes. The church, by its very existence, it is missionary. Being missionary is not something added to being the church. Being missionary is not something added to being a Christian. Any Christian or any person for that matter, if he is baptized, if she is baptized in the name of Jesus, then he or she becomes a missionary. So the missionary, though generally we identify that with the activities, the apostolates that we do, by the existence itself must be missionary, means we are a mission. Like God told Abraham, you are a blessing to the world. God did not tell him, you will give blessing or you will give blessing things to the others, nothing like that, but you are a blessing. Similarly, we are a mission. Pope John Paul II says, the church is missionary by her very nature, for Christ's mandate is not something contingent or external, but reaches the very heart of the church. Today, the mission is to manifest Jesus, to manifest God's presence to the others in the godless world. Of course, the church takes plenty of activities, and your congregation, our diocese, we are all trying to take up different apostolates in order to bring out God's presence. For example, the propagation of faith in Rome, it helps about 1100 mission dioceses, nearly 2 lakhs schools all over the world, more than 5,000 hospitals, more than 18,000 dispensaries, about 600 leprosy centers, and more than 80,000 social and pastoral projects. But all these activities have only one theme or only one aim, one purpose, that is to give God to the godless world. And the church takes the Mission Sunday celebration very seriously, which was started in 1926 by Pope Pius XI on the last but one Sunday of October every year. And this Mission Sunday is very important because the church invites the people to realize that we are all participating in the mission of the church, and we are called to pray for the mission and to contribute something for the mission, whether we give small amount or big amount. By contributing, we are all told that we are equal and we are participating in the great mission of the church. And Jesus says, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit." Perhaps some centuries back, the church thought baptizing people was the only mission of the church. But unfortunately, we did not read the text properly. Jesus says, "Go therefore, make disciples of all nations, baptizing them." So baptizing them is only a subordinate clause. It only explains how to make disciples, and before making disciples, before baptizing, they should be disciples already. And how to make disciples? Only by living a life of discipleship in our lives. Therefore, my dear sisters, whatever our apostolate is, our mission is to give God to the godless church and to give hope to the hopeless, to be the voice of the voiceless, to give meaning to those who have lost meaning in life, to wipe away the tears of the sorrowful. To give meaning to someone's life is the greatest mission, because it is said, when you tell something to some people, they may forget it soon. When you give something to people, they may remember it for some time. But when you give meaning to their lives, they will remember us forever. And the mission is to console the grief-stricken, and the mission is to be with the lonely, to feed the hungry, and to strengthen the heartbroken. St. Mother Teresa's words are very beautiful here. Today, people are starving, not so much for food, but for love. And our mission is to give that love to them. People look for understanding, companionship, forgiveness, acceptance, hope, and meaning, and they look for a ray of hope in their lives. Therefore, she says, treat others with respect and dignity, even when they deserve it the least, because your treating others is not the reflection of their personality, but it's a reflection of your personality. Oftentimes we think it is right to say tit for tat. She treated me like that, so I also treated her back like that. Or she said like this, so I also gave her tightly back. And sometimes we seem to take pride in that. I give her tightly back because she gave me. But that is not our mission. Don't expect the world to be kind to you because you are kind in your dealings. It is like this, the lion will not refuse to eat you because you are a vegetarian. Because you are a vegetarian, the lion will not say, no, I am not going to eat you. Because the lion is non-vegetarian. Once a priest was going in the jungle area, suddenly he found a lion in front of him and he got frightened. Then he knelt down, closed his eyes and said prayer to God to save him. And then after a few minutes he slowly opened one of the eyes and saw what the lion is doing. And the lion also knelt down, it was praying. And the priest was very happy. Then he said, okay lion, you are a Catholic lion, I guess, thank you. Then the lion said, Father, don't disturb me, I am saying my grace before meals. So just because the priest is praying to be saved, the lion will not listen to that prayer. Our life is really a demand, a struggle. That's why Mother Teresa continues to say, People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some faithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. It happens in the diocese, in the province, in the parish. We do so much, we take so much efforts to put up something, to bring something. The next person may say, no, it's not useful, but still, let us do. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous. Be happy anyway. Sometimes when you smile at people, they are getting angry. Why this fellow is always smiling? And smiling is very contagious. When you say hello and smile, they also start smiling. Why are you smiling? There's something happening. When they ask that question, they already smile. Smile is contagious and that's a sign of happiness. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have and it will never get best anyway. In the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. The professors may not give a good homily, but still we can invite them for Mass. People may not listen to your homily, but prepare well anyway. Others may not laugh for your jokes, but crack them anyway. Because greatness is consisting in small things. As humans, we tend to identify our worth and happiness with the external things like degrees, positions, jubilee celebrations, putting up big buildings, power, authority, institutions. But all these things will become irrelevant when we speak about the meaning of life, the purpose of our mission. Now, once a new priest, after ordination, the bishop asked him, Father, this is your first appointment. Do you have any preference? Where do you want to go? That school or this parish, that institution, that shrine? The priest said, no, Bishop, you can give me anywhere, no problem, I'll go. No, no, you asked, this is a first appointment, I'll give you what you ask. Then he said, I don't want any big parish. I don't want any big institutions. Just diocese, that is enough, he said. So like that, we often identify ourselves with the external things. Our mission is a mixture of both grace and mercy, and therefore it is a blessing. Grace is when God gives us good things that we don't deserve. Mercy is when He spares us from bad things we deserve. Blessings are when He is generous with both. Charlie Chaplin once said, life laughs at you when you are unhappy. Life smiles at you when you are happy. But life salutes you when you make others happy. Our mission is that. How many really smile at hearing our name? We have a mobile phone, the caller ID. When you call somebody, the other person, when he or she looks at your name, he should smile. Why is he calling now? He is not going, he does not know what you are going to tell them. Maybe bad news, you may be scolding them. But still, if they see your name on their mobile and they start smiling, that is the purpose of being a human person, to give joy to the others. And finally, great scientist Einstein once said, what really counts in life cannot be counted. What can be counted does not really count in life. How true it is. He is not a big saint or a religious person, religious leader, but a pakka scientist. And even he realizes what really counts in life cannot be counted. Like 1, 2, 3, 1 car, 2 houses, 3 jewels. All these things can be counted, but they don't count in life. But what really cannot be counted, that counts in life. Like love, mercy, compassion, forgiveness. And if we have to be the mission on the earth, we need to realize that. A clue to be a good missionary, in my opinion, speak in such a way that others to love to listen to you, and listen in such a way that others love to speak to you. Because you are listening to me nicely, I loved speaking to you, but I cannot go on and on. There, I finish. We are called to be a mission on the earth. Let us sing that together.